Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Elite 100. If we guys get you to pop your cameras on, that would be amazing. I'm really excited for today's hot seat with the guests we have. But before we get into that, let's share some wins. I think more now than ever, with the energy around the world, that we need to always focus on what's good and focus on the wins. So why don't we start with actually Jeff? What's a good win, bud? I can see you're holding one of your wins.
I am. Our nanny's coming in like well, we're switching. We have two nannies today. She's coming in a sec, so he won't be presenting with me, although he would love to. Well, our real estate development company that a few of you guys know about is potentially about to buy a property and build 5 homes on it. So 5 container homes on it. So fingers crossed we cross that line this week and start developing pretty soon.
No, I'm excited for that too. Excited for you guys to share today. So, well, that's an amazing opportunity, but it's also in harmony with providing a service that's needed, right, for a lot of people out there. So, I'm excited for that. Ara, what about you, bud? What's a good win? Oh, I think you're muted, bud. I can read lips, though. I think you just swore.
I'm sure you did. So, as you guys know, I'm more interested well, I'm interested in money, but besides that, I'm more interested in health and charity. Excuse me. Spent the entire weekend, over 30 hours, in DC in meetings for our benevolent charity organization for youth and scouting and athletic youth. We have about 1,000 members, and we've done we set the stage for the next 2 years and how it's going to go and the funding and all that. So thank God that we had the opportunity and the wisdom of having 40 people get together and create this for the East Coast for the youth. That was my win.
I love it. I love your energy and what you're doing for a couple different charities. So I appreciate you. Greg, what about you?
Just a huge shout out. Had a great time at Mr. Dave Van Hoos's event this past weekend. Just a life-giving force. Obviously, those of us in the room that have attended Dave's event know that it's just about making us all better and creating a better planet. And so Chris Patterson should recognize this because that's what we came to. So we got the speaker, whatever that is, Dave, the best speaker award. So thank you, Dave. Love you, brother.
Yeah, Greg stepped it up, man. We had some tough competition, and he won the our best-selling speaker award. And it was pretty amazing, man. And it was just absolutely incredibly to see his transformation and just to get out there and change the world. It's awesome. And then we did a session on him that just was like amazing case study. I don't know if you want to share, Greg, but it was really amazing. It was what a great experience.
Yeah, those of us that have been to Dave's event, obviously that's not just, the techniques of speaking better, but also diving into, just meditation, hypnotherapy. And so, yeah, when Dave did a session on me, it revealed quite a bit, going back to past lives and just, man, it's incredible. I mean, it's hard to explain, Dave, as you know, but it's just, it's really transformative. And so those of you that haven't been to Dave's event, I strongly encourage you to go because it's super transformative.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Great wins. Mr. Ivan Ans, where are you? Are you in the UK? Where are you?
I am traveling through Europe now.
What's a good win, brother?
Okay, my friends. So I've been working since 2020 on my second book. And so for me, it was a challenge because I was basically normally, I wrote books that are non-fiction books. But today I received my first fiction book copy that I wanted to ask you for help, guys, because do you see?
Yes. That's fiction?
That's fiction. That is a business fable. Awaken your philanthropy investor within. Now, so It's actually a business fable. Is phenomenal, and it's related to the philanthropy investors movement. And I want to also utilize this space to thank Dave specifically for helping Greg and Sky the last week on working on crafting the philanthropy investors presentation and putting his mastery and wisdom on it. But the main thing is that this book, I want to make it the Netflix series. That's basically my dream with the Awaken Your Philanthropy Investor Within. It's beautiful. When you see it inside, you see what it says?
We can't read it, but yeah, what does it say, bud? You want to read it out loud? Awaken the Philanthropy.
You see?
Yes.
But it's basically a novel. So now I don't have an idea how to convert this into a Netflix series. So if you guys have contacts or someone that
let's talk after. I can help you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Jeff has connections. I think Ara does. We have Phil Goldfein. We should be able to get this done.
Yep.
Sure.
That's amazing, because it's for the world, and Greg and Dave are helping with the movement in Florida. We have people in Europe, we have people in Asia and Latin America, but put it into Netflix. I mean, it's a huge win for me, because I started this book writing it in 2020, and in the weekends, and here and there, and 3 years project.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's exciting. The book is escaping me. It's something that we recommend for kids. It's a fable, but it's geared towards understanding wealth and stuff. It'll come to me. Does that remind me?
I think it's War and Peace.
War and Peace? I don't think so.
It's not Richest Man in Babylon?
Yes, Richest Man in Babylon. That's what that reminds me of. Yes. Yeah, great book. That's great for adults too. So awesome. Great wins, good energy. And I always like to take, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Just, I have in my morning prayer, I'm sending love and energy to different parts of the world, different people in general. And I always want to continue that energy too. And I think it's important. A little bit of housekeeping before we get going. As you guys know, we have our masterclass today. You guys have links, you have free codes. You can share that with anybody for free. Absolutely. We're just trying to get the word out more now than ever about awareness, about, living from the inside out, positive mental attitude. So if anybody needs links, let me know. I'm going to start and read the Mastermind principles. Then we'll get into our hot seat. I'm really excited for this hot seat and the group of gentlemen coming in for this. So Mastermind principles. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I'm open to looking at myself, my challenges and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally and trust to the mastermind, and I'm open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past, so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. Awesome. So let's bring front and center Mr. Jeff Rubin. A lot of you guys know Jeff. I met Jeff through Dalton, and him and I had a few months of going back and forth, getting to really know each other at a high level. He's a very proud dad, family man, successful entrepreneur, and has quite a few different endeavors going on. But Jeff, why don't you come front and center and introduce your team? I've had the pleasure of meeting Scott. Scott and I geeked out on mindset a couple of times, and in the software companies, had some successful exits. But I'll let you present these guys. And which one of you, if any, needs screen share?
Probably just me.
Okay.
And I'm also losing my voice a little bit after being sick for like 4 days in a row. So thank God the other guys will also be talking. But yeah, Brian, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for giving us some time. Hopefully we don't bore you, although what we're doing is it's some pretty boring stuff, which is good. Good for our business. So two of my very close friends are also my co-founders. We have a fourth co-founder who I co-founded my first venture-backed startup with. So Mike, I'll just kind of intro them real quick. Mike McCarron lives in my town, Bedford, New Hampshire. Former CPA, now incredible real estate agent. So anyone who's interested in connecting with him on real estate stuff, definitely do that. Also 2 young kids. And then Scott Weller, amazing entrepreneur, off a massively successful exit, Session M. Just illustrious career as an incredible tech entrepreneur. And we are building let me show my screen. Let me find this. Oh, it should be good now. Can you see?
Yep, we got you.
RMC? Okay, cool. Let me just minimize. The box here. Okay. The Residential Management Club, which is RMC. Sorry, I'm having some issues. Trying to minimize the box over here. Sorry, hold on one sec. All right. There we go. Okay. So the Residential Management Club, our goal is really to provide every homeowner with a happy, healthy home. And that sounds pretty vague, but that is essentially, we want to be so boring that you are a happy homeowner, you do nothing for your home, and we kind of just take care of it all with some really cool but really low touch technology, which Scott will definitely dive into. So some of the core problems, home ownership sucks. So all you guys are real estate investors or own homes, or one or more homes. It sucks however many you own. And we know it, and you know it. And so it's time consuming. People have busy lives. Homeowners, more so me than probably some of you guys, are uneducated. They don't know how to maintain what is their biggest investment other than their family and their health, which they go to the doctor, they diagnose it once a year, twice a year for a dentist. It is supposed to be twice a year for a dentist, as my dentist wife would say, but most people go once. Scheduling is overwhelming. They don't know who to go to. They don't know who's trustworthy. All these different vendors. It's a fragmented industry across the country. Really emergencies and urgencies are super painful, and we've all experienced it. We want to aim to solve that. Scott, do you want to walk us through the solution, which you articulate the best?
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Weller. When we think about home ownership, we think about this asset that's essentially deteriorating in front of our eyes, and it's the place we spend the most time, and it's the place where we should be getting the most enjoyment. But what ends up happening is it's whenever we run into issues, it's a fragmented experience, and we're endeavoring to create a VIP concierge service experience and the country's largest membership club. My experience has been building massive membership and loyalty programs for the world's largest brands globally. And there are many, many points in the journey as a homeowner where you have issues, and those issues shouldn't be, a crisis. And I think our goal is to provide concierge service that you can turn to, that can be proactive and making sure your entire ownership experience is successful and enjoyable. We'll talk a little bit about how we do that, but we're going to be using low friction technology and AI chatbots in order to kind of enable homeowners to sort of, in order to get in front of the issues the homeowners are having today. And when we get in front of those interventions and those issues, those problems, we then onboard them into a membership experience that's an ongoing experience that becomes very, very, very proactive. And Mike's going to talk a bit about that proactivity. And overall, at the end of the day, the homeowner should basically be a passenger on the journey, and where we are actually guiding them along on the things that need to be done in their home. We're getting really proactive around getting ahead of particular issues. We're addressing maintenance when maintenance should be addressed. and overall turning the home ownership experience is something that's enjoyable and proactive. And so that's our objective. That's our mission. We're going to be using a lot of interesting technologies in order to achieve that. Many of you are probably part of membership or loyalty programs, whether it's with your airline, maybe you're part of My Starbucks Rewards, maybe you're part of a credit card based, program. Maybe you're part of a program at your local coffee shop. But in all those circumstances, the best programs are the ones that are super personalized and super proactive. And so by stepping in and kind of learning a bit about your home, we're able to personalize that membership experience for you, the homeowner, based on your type of ownership experience. And we're using technologies that a lot of these programs use today for other circumstances. I think we're sitting in front of an opportunity to create the country's largest membership program, given the amount of homes that exist. And I think if you're thinking about the type of experience you should expect is very similar to what happens in the context of HOAs or other scenarios where you already are getting kind of automatic services, automatic reoccurring services, and proactive engagement around your environment. With that, I'll kind of shift it over to Mike to talk a bit about the overall way that we assess, the homeownership experience and trigger additional interventions and activities that enhance the quality of life.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, y'all. Thanks for having us. I'm Mike again. What we wanted to do is just put a slide together for you that could make it really tangible for you to see what we're trying to accomplish here. Certainly there's going to be times that you're caught in an emergency, or there's just a, urgent item that, somebody in your family wants addressed. You get out of the shower, you need to, fix the vent that's been broken and not fixed. We want to be able to catch that in that moment, like Scott was kind of talking about, but really thinking big picture. I probably sound like a broken record because I say this all the time to my clients. We live in a world where people need to be proactive about their homes. Everybody refied, everybody's in a 2.5%, 3% mortgage. Unless life changes, you're going to be there for a while. So let's get ahead of that now. So with this stoplight analysis, the idea is we want to give you access to this anytime you log onto the website, or we'll email it to you monthly, just to give you that red, yellow, and green. What's the status of the major components of your house? I won't read through all of these, but in the highest level, there's two different buckets. There's the recurring services, and then there's the non-recurring. We want to make sure that you're scheduling that HVAC and septic pump every time you need to, that, the driveway seal needs to be done. But we also want to be there for when a tree falls in your yard and you need that removed. So if people have this and have access to it, they don't have to go hunting for it. To what Jeff talked about before, how do you educate people and teach them? Certainly first-time home buyers, I'll give them a free pass because they just, are new to the game. But I think a lot of people are living in the world, and because of frustration, because of a bad experience with the service, they just don't like dealing with it. So our goal is to give you access to the right information at the right time, and literally at the click of a button, be able to book the service that you need. So Jeff, I can shift to the next one.
Yep. So Mike, why don't you start this, and I'll kind of dive in.
Yeah. So where do we stand right now, and what are we kind of getting for feedback? Obviously we wanted to test this in the market. Jeff and I both live in Bedford, New Hampshire. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's southern New Hampshire, about 45 minutes north of Boston. Affluent community, one of the nicest towns in New Hampshire. We know a lot of the people that live here. We know a lot of the service providers. I've been here 42 years. I've been with Keller Williams almost 10 years now. I have a laundry list of people that I love to refer to. I love getting phone calls all the time from people saying, who do I need for a painter? Who's available for X, Y, and Z? And that's a great talking point. It's a great touch point rather for my clients. But I want to make sure that people have access, not just my clients, everyone, to the right service providers. And we build a platform that helps these small mom and pop shops kind of, grow with us. If we can take some of the back office, items off of their plate and just allow them to focus on service, we can get them more jobs, be more efficient. So it's kind of incorporating technology with the old school, hand-holding approach. But what we've done is we've started beta testing 25 individuals right in our hometown. And actually, you know, the nice part about validating this is it told us everything that we kind of needed to know. You know, on those 25 homes that we've gone into, on average, they've needed between 5 and 12 different services. Some are just your average reoccurring HVAC that they just have not had time to schedule. Other things that are, you know, items that they know they need to address, but just haven't looked at it. You know, a lot of these folks don't have access to, or they didn't get a home inspection when they purchased. But our goal is to incorporate a home inspection once a year, you know, so we can identify those items and track anything that we need to. But obviously, you know, as this next point makes, you know, 100% of this 25, I know it's a small sample size, you know, are booking their recurring services with us, which is fantastic. Jeff, I think that's about it on that one.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, please, if anyone has, this is for feedback. We're not using this as testing for raising money. We're not raising money as a company, and we probably won't, which is great because it will be a cash flow business. But please, if you guys have questions, we have some questions for you guys for some feedback, especially around go to market or beta into go to market. And Dave, you had some really great suggestions. Nelson's had some great suggestions, and Tyler in the past. But so please, anyone feel free to dive in with any questions. Scott, we were talking about the business model. So you and I can kind of dive through this before I lose my voice entirely. And we do have questions on this for you guys, some ideas, especially around pricing. Which Dave, we talked a little bit about this, and we'd love to keep talking. But we're starting with a freemium approach. Basic services are for free. We're thinking through what the pricing tier will be, like a 3-prong tier. Then there'll be additional services like before you sell your home, we can do all of those home inspections that an insurance would require. We could have a flat fee. And then there's a few other things that we could do around that. Vendor onboarding. So every vendor is a 10% revenue split. It's a referral fee. It's industry standard. No one has scoffed at that. In fact, some of them have said, because to the next point, you get rid of leads for us, we give you jobs. We would actually pay more. That by itself is around $100 billion industry of lead generation for the home services industry. And so that wasn't why we started this company, but just happened to turn out that we think we can put a dent in that, which would be incredible. One of our unique selling points is just like Mike said, think about where you live, in those towns and those cities. There's just a massive untapped market of homeowners who they just don't know, and they don't know to hire the jobs or who to get or what to Google or however they're going about it if they don't even know. And so we educate them, and we literally put it in your face. Here's what we think you should do. Here's what you should do based on this home inspection in this very easy to digest stoplight analysis. And then we can just literally take care of everything. And Scott will dissect how that technology will deliver that, which is really critical. We definitely want to get some ideas on how we can easily give them that technology. We'll talk about that. And then as we go, we have other ideas around loans, partnering with lenders, potentially becoming a brokerage, because we'll have more data than most other companies would have on a home, which puts us in a really good spot to monetize. And so what's great about this business model is we monetize the homeowners and the vendors while providing exceptional value at the same time, which is unique which is great.
Just to add one quick thing, Jeff, if you don't mind, to talk about that 10% referral or revenue share that, you know, speaks to the model, just so you're all aware, you know, the way that we'd like to set this process up is we're going to pre-bill the homeowner prior to service being done. That's going to give the vendor, you know, a lot of confidence that they can go in and get paid, provided that they do the right job. At the end of the service, they'll confirm that they are done. The homeowner will say that they are satisfied or not. Assuming they are satisfied, we release the funds right away. You know, if they're not, then we go into conflict resolution. But at the end of the day, our goal is to, I always call it, be Switzerland in between the vendors and the customers. Our goal is to keep the vendors, you know, performing the services that they need, not upcharging, showing up on time, holding them to those higher standards. But at the same time, we want to be doing the same thing and holding the customers to higher standards. We don't want them, complaining all the time or, looking for kickbacks or anything like that. So, if we can tie this together in a nice, easy platform, and monitor everyone, I think it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. So, Scott, we've been talking about everyone entry points to initiate this sales funnel. We know we've talked to hundreds of homeowners in town, friends from basketball and softball, and Mike's runs the board of a local school. Mike literally knows everyone in our town, so we can literally get access to anyone in our town. But Scott and Derek had presented a really interesting use case of how we can get in front of the most painful part of the home ownership mindset. And so, Scott, do you want to just talk about your ideas around emergencies, urgencies, and how the technology that we're building will deliver this?
Yeah, we think about sort of demand. I think Blake asked a question around the beta testers themselves and are they friends? And I think it's important to note that our initial beta tests are with friendlies. And our number one objective working with the friendlies is really to build kind of a very tight ladder around making sure that we can be repeatable and scalable and do that with people who might trust that we'll break a few things as we go. So we don't think that's super representative of the broader base, but really will allow us to kind of determine how do we take this very complex, fragmented industry when it comes to how vendors and homeowners relate to each other and have an experience that'll be quite efficient using technology along the way. And so there's a lot that we need to learn, and there's certainly some things that we know we're going to have to fail and iterate at as we go. So having that kind of tight base of 25, 30, 40 friendlies is going to help us kind of get the technology right. But as we build that tall ladder, our goal eventually is to kind of expand out into surrounding communities, or actually go wider once we sort of get the technology and the product working as expected. And the way we're going to iterate fast, I'm always a fan of kind of finding very fast demand loops that can create a flywheel. And so we want low friction. So we're going to be using kind of text messaging as an entry point. We want anyone to be able to talk to the RMC team and the RMC platform and get access to what we've curated. And the number one thing that we've curated is that we've created very, very tight relationships with assessing the highest quality vendors in the community. And we've actually built vendor relationships with those vendors. And we've done that through highly trusted sources. And so we have a process we're building on the back end of the software will allow us to sort of assess vendors, assess how they're rated across other dimensions, other sites, other platforms, and then also get customer feedback on those vendors as well in different categories for the locale that we're operating in. And the tight loop that we're going to sort of iterate on first is as an entry point into the service is around emergencies and urgencies. These are things that happen most often for homeowners, and they're the things that kind of have a higher level to address. So on the back end with our vendor relationships, we have a select group of vendors that have a service level agreement with us that they're going to respond within a certain amount of time, and they understand that these are real jobs, and they have to respond similar to how a real estate agent needs to respond to leads when someone is sort of clicking through and looking at homes. We have a similar distribution mechanism where when a homeowner texts an issue to sort of ask RMC for help, we're going to actually use that platform first. We're going to use AI and conversational AI to sort of summarize and categorize what the homeowner is talking about. AI technology has now gotten to the point where we actually can use, different AI capabilities to summarize and categorize what the issue is, even to the point where we may ask the customer to take a picture of that issue, and we'll determine what's in that picture and categorize those things. Oh, they're taking a picture of a shower head. That shower head might be leaking. And so we categorize that, and then we use our coordination system to find the vendor who's most appropriate for that. We're literally going to ping in real time that vendor, and the vendor is going to respond yes via text message. You say, yes, I want that job. And then we're going to bring the two of them together to have a conversation over text messaging. Why this is important, it's super low friction. Two, we live in a time where, you know, a lot of folks who are now buying their first homes prefer to talk to vendors via text messaging. They don't want to give them a phone call. They'd rather chat. And so we're enabling that sort of chat dialogue between vendors. Those are already happening today. We're just going to coordinate it a bit better. The RMC system is going to offer up times for the service. We're going to be the scheduler. We're going to own the schedule. And we're actually going to manage the payment. You know, this is a pain point that every vendor in the community of the beta testing has told us, is that they don't want to manage payment. You know, they'd rather not manage invoicing. And so RMC is going to handle that entire invoicing experience, the entire payment experience. That's where we get in front of the payment flow, and that's where we take our 10% off the top. And then rinse and repeat. Once that homeowner is in, they had a good experience with the top vendor that we've curated, you know, our expectation is that then they will want to subscribe to our service and become and get the benefits of being an ongoing homeowner in our system, and get the benefits of basically pressing a button and saying, I want you to take care of my house. And we come in with our inspector, and then we basically guide them through a process of gamifying the actual homeowner experience and sort of moving them from where they are today, maybe in a lower rating in terms of how they're taking care of their home, to sort of the best rating. And that's all going to be, again, with like highly curated vendors. They have another emergency and issue. It's one text message away, but over time, we're getting those reoccurring services in on time. We're proactively identifying issues through the yearly home inspection. You obviously get to a point where maybe you have less emergencies, you have a greater, more pleasant experience with your home. There's another question.
Yeah, maybe we should. That's a great question, Dave and Blake. Scott and Mike, how do we?
I would think that I haven't been in real estate for a long time, but you have one person contractor that comes, a plumber that messes somebody's houses up, and as a lawsuit, you guys will be involved in all these lawsuits. And I think that it's going to be a nightmare. You're talking about these contractors and vendors and roofers, and these guys all smoke dope. They drink alcohol. I mean, I don't know about what you guys live, but in Florida, to get somebody to show up and do something around here is almost very difficult.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, you should definitely talk to an attorney to find out, make sure that you guys don't get involved in any lawsuits. Ivan, you would have some experience in this. You've done a lot of houses, and what's your input through this?
Yes, I was going to chime into this story. One of my companies that I control to the family office is called Equity and Health, and basically it has I founded it in 2012, so it has 11 years, and it basically connects. It's a platform that has the purpose to help low-income families to make it through home ownership. And we do it basically, we have a process called the happy home, because we find out that there is a lot of homes that are abandoned across the United States and are vacant, and that is increasing criminality in neighborhoods. So our project to decrease criminality is to convert abandoned homes into happy homes. So we find that homes, we buy them. We have done already close to 1,000 in 32 states. And we have successfully put families into it, low-income families that can access to the home for a $2,000 down payment. We vet the families very well because their credit score is in the 500s, something like that. So they will not qualify for a traditional mortgage normally, but they are there in the commitment that they need to improve this home and make it a happy home. So it's a triangle, right? Imagine a triangle where you have an investor or our company providing the resource, which is the capital, the family providing the sweat equity, and the home receiving the help to be that happy home. So I have also a process that vets contractors in 32 states. So I have like 300 contractors in 32 states. And we have what we call the equity and health qualified contractor. So they go through a process and they are vetted and so on. So I'm happy to jump into a call with you and see any synergies that we can find for a win-win,
Yeah,
yeah, that could be.
that would be amazing. You guys should probably have a deep dive. I was going to say the same thing. I saw you had your hand up. You guys have already done something not similar, but similar process of vetting clients, vetting, contractors and vendors, and then connecting them. So it can definitely be handled. But to Dave's point, like down here in Florida, getting qualified help is challenging, and there's got to be some process. And from a legal point of view too, Chris Johnson from Johnson Law's on here. I'm sure he'd be happy to sit with you guys if you don't already have your legal team set up. He could probably help you as well.
Yeah, and there's one more thing I want to add around the question around legality. We've talked about that quite a bit, and liability. There's two areas that we're researching around addressing the liability issue. One is a kind of pass through how we structure the vendor relationship with the customer. At the end of the day, when a job's going to be done, that paper is directly with the vendor. What we're going to do is going to be kind of like LegalZoom. We're just going to digitize and streamline the ability for someone to say, I want this job done, and oh yes, I'm signing up with this vendor. So from a work order perspective, you're going to be going directly to the vendor, but that doesn't mean when people sue, they sue everyone, right?
Yeah.
Another product that we're going to introduce, if you pay through us, when you start subscribing through us and we're managing the payment to the vendor or being that multiplexer, we will offer, similar to when you're traveling and you're kind of going through checkout and you're given the opportunity to buy insurance on that particular trip for things like weather or mechanical issues or delays, etc. Anything that sort of can cancel or ruin that trip. We are looking at how we can structure an insurance product for any job on top of the insurance that the vendor already carries. And so there'll be very job specific insurance, and looking at particular insurance carriers that could potentially back that up. It would be a very unique product, but just imagine a world where, 30% of homeowners who decide to do some sort of major project at their home, choose to subscribe to a particular insurance product. It's a brand new marketplace for insurance. And then we would back it up. We'd be basically working with a carrier to sort of back up if someone really does screw up and they show up and they're on drugs and a guy falls off the roof or they put a hole through your deck by dropping, concrete on it. Like that's going to be covered by the insurance policy. And that will mean we'll have to underwrite every single vendor and enforce our process around how we determine the viability of every vendor in our network. And so to me, that's like introducing forcing functions. We don't have the perfect answer, but liability does exist. Liability exists elsewhere as well. And you're absolutely right. There's definitely an environment where people do sue for mistakes.
We have an expert on the team here on the group, Dalton Crosan. I see he's on. I'll get you guys connected. Hoteling insurance group's arguably one of the best in the country, and they're an Elite 100 members. So they're very, very creative. They bring things to the market that literally don't exist. So I think I'll connect you guys, Jeff, Dalton. I think.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Dalton, I didn't even think about that. Let's. I'll text you.
Yeah.
A good idea.
Ara?
So guys, it's a great idea, except it has a lot of work ahead of you. Somebody commented on the thing like Angie's List or whatever. For example, any of the repair subs that you're going to send out, they have different levels of expertise on different products. So you're not going to have one HVAC guy, I'm exaggerating to make a point here. You're not going to have one HVAC guy that's going to handle all your HVACs because not everything is the same. You might be able to have one plumber, but then they can't handle some of the specific items in there. You said that you're going to have home inspection every year. That's going to cost. So that's going to eat up of your 10% or of your overall subscription price. There's a lot of the grandness or the multitude of services that you're offering or you're thinking about are great, but that's diminishing your bottom line quite a bit. You might want to think about, as you said, there's multiple tiers of pricing, but you might want to think about who gets the annual appraisal, home inspection, who doesn't, and what. Just so that the bottom line stays as the bottom line and not just dwindles away and you get 1% return and you close up shop. I'd be more than happy to work with you guys if you want to help with some of the. I have 2 subs right now working here. That's why I keep going in and out. My apologies, but it just happens, and it's the thing. Eric and I are involved in a lot of these. He can share too his opportunities and problems that we face in real estate ownership.
Yeah, those are great points, and we'd be excited to work with you and get your feedback. I think we're very much in the infancy phase. And even we've discussed even tightening the scope of the types of services that we can address, and then if we're a conduit for like issues, there having a way to kind of like transition those to the right people. Just a really small percentage of what we do ends up becoming a lead, not a job. There's ways for us to kind of tighten that scope so that we can control what we can control, and then obviously rely on other relationships if there's something just out of scope. And so we're going to learn that as we go. But you're absolutely correct. There's quite a bit of complexity, and obviously the different issues and things that can happen. And so that's why, I think ultimately our number one goal is to obviously get the homeowner into a program where the reoccurring services are addressed. And so, I think a lot of homeowners, especially Gen Z and millennial homeowners, they really just want to press a button and say, I want my sprinklers cleaned. I want my garbage taken out. I want the house painted or touched up once a year. I want my pest control addressed. I want my septic. They want these things just taken care of with one button. I think our number one goal is to find the sweet spot around that type of membership, that type of subscription, where we have tight control on those variables, and then try to scale out to sort of what types of interventions can we address successfully without having too much liability, but also just be capturing that flow of kind of problematic issues. I think that without capturing that flow of problematic issues, our acquisition costs would be much higher to get into the program. And I think that that's where we're testing, is sort of getting into that tight loop. Exactly. If someone has an issue, they come to us. We are concierge for helping them find a path to addressing that issue. But ultimately, we want to get them on the reoccurring services, because that's where I think we're going to get the tightest amount of scale and be able to kind of bring it to additional communities with technology, not always people. But we're going to learn. We'd love to kind of partner with those here on where you think there's value and potential collaboration. We're obviously very early.
Yep. I think that's one place where I think the team can help. We have a lot of people that have either been builders or contractors in real estate, and like what services, like HVAC filters once a year. These things cause massive freeze ups, right? Water filters. We could probably do a quick session on the types of things that don't incur liability but cause problems. I bet you could come up with 30 things and start the company with that. So you're removing liability, plenty of services, easy subscription. These things, like I know personally, if you don't clean your air filters, they freeze up, and if they're in the basement, you'll get a flood, right? That's a massive, and it's a $10 filter, right? And some of the times the HVAC companies, they don't have that service. They charge an arm and a leg to come out and do it. They don't have a natural, like a service part of it. So I had a couple of quick things. I'm just going to rapid fire these things to think about. Obviously, there's the legal explainer videos, right? In the interest of ease, a cartoon explainer videos. Well, how is this saving them money? That's what you got to answer. Like anytime there's a subscription, you want to just show, this is how we save you money. Look at, this happens if you don't do this. So cartoon explainer videos are some of the easiest gamified ways to do that stuff. You addressed that you guys might be connecting with financing. Somebody has, new driveway, paint the house, a financing partner, and we have some connections here for that as well. What about, like, for us, if you get this up and running, is there an affiliate program outside of the vendors for people that maybe not even using your service? If they, right now I'm leasing in a high-end condo. I don't have a building, right? But this is something I might want to share. So making a really robust affiliate program. We have a lot of experience with that in the Matrix. We can help with that. Set up control systems. And then an Uber rating system where they rate each other. Something you probably already have something like that in mind, but a gamified rating system. And bad vendors will drop off from that. You'll be able to see it right away, but so will bad homeowners. You don't want the same thing. So some sort of an Uber rating system. And Jeff, not Jeff, Scott, maybe in 2 minutes, explain to these guys your qualification about what you did, building that. Was it for Starbucks? You built the referral, yeah. Maybe let these guys know your expertise there. I think that'll help.
Yeah, my expertise is in real-time systems, massively scalable, consumer-based technology. And so I started a company in 2011 called Session M. We built basically a data and analytics platform for, capturing customer information from point of sale systems, e-commerce systems, or anywhere where you're gathering information about your customers, and then build marketing tools on top of that. And our sweet spot was really related to, and how we scaled the business was automating, subscription-based loyalty programs at scale for massive companies. These were for companies that have, 10 million to hundreds of millions of customers globally. And, our big inflection point is when Starbucks chose our platform for scaling their My Starbucks Rewards program. And so they were moving very quickly. They needed a way to kind of tighten timescales, make it automated, capture more data. And so we ended up plugging in with Starbucks, helping them kind of iterate and optimize My Starbucks Rewards globally. And then we took it to every licensee and franchisee globally, everywhere from like South America to Europe to Southeast Asia. And we deployed the platform for the licensees to be able to kind of just take My Starbucks Rewards, plug it in, launch it. The app and everything else associated with that would be connected into our platform. So when, Jeff and Mike were talking about kind of solving this problem in the home ownership space, I immediately got drawn to leveraging technology to sort of track the issues within the context of the homeowner experience in the way that we did at Session M. I'm going to understand for each home, kind of, it is a snowflake. It does need to be personalized, just like we did with every member of one of these major programs. We would kind of personalize the experience and then put you on a journey that is designed to, using analytics, to get the best value for you and for the program. And I think, when you think about a homeowner journey, there are those common reoccurring services, but then, every home is a snowflake. It's sort of the sequencing of those services. How big is your pool? How often does it need to be cleaned? That might be slightly different than, someone else's pool. And so like personalizing that journey, aligning it with the right vendors. I think there's definitely an opportunity to make the entire experience and space more efficient. And what we learned is that if you can put something in a box, kind of reduce the variables in terms of the complexity, and that's why, I think bringing a program kind of like AAA for home ownership to this environment, and starting really tight at first with the right types of products and services, we could end up creating one of the largest membership programs in the country. Especially with where millennials are thinking like, I just want to click a button, I just want it dealt with, I don't want to have to deal with it. In an environment where subscription and box services are very popular, people want want to get everything from their new things for their pets delivered monthly to their house, to their meat from Butcher Box, to their to their perfumes that they wear. They want to try new things, and they're very into subscriptions as a way to trial things. And then similarly, we can kind of lean into that proclivity to subscribe for things around your house. And so another kind of timing or market window opportunity is right now there are thousands and thousands and thousands of home inspectors who just don't have work, just given kind of where the housing market demand is today and the inventory, just a lot of home inspectors kind of sitting on the sidelines. And we think we can, as we scale, take advantage of that and kind of change the dynamic around a home inspector and the opportunities a home inspector has to go do work. And so these very light touch, low kind of like mini inspections can be done through a mobile app, very much like Uber. We can allow these home inspectors to sign up and have a job for a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 a month. They can go be, checking in on things, looking at issues, and we can deploy them in a different way. And I think that's a market window issue that won't always exist, but I think we can capture that workforce demand through something like RMC as we scale. So hopefully it gives you a perspective on kind of where I came from, why I see kind of value here. And I also hear, there's a tremendous amount of complexity as well. So any feedback that you have is very well received at this point in time.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Yeah, well, let's rapid fire the rest of this, guys. I want to get as many ideas as we can to these guys. And we also have a chat group that Jeff knows about. So if you don't get to give your recommendation or your thoughts, we can post it in the chat too. Eric?
Yeah, Brian, I'll we can talk about coordinating with individual people.
Yeah,
Blake
I wrote some people down for longer discussions for sure. Eric, and I know Greg, you had your hand up.
Oh yeah. So this is a great product, guys. I think it's brilliant, and I'm an electrical contractor in Massachusetts and in Florida. And the reason why we chose Florida is because it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I know that getting people down there to respond is impossible. So I'd love to connect with you guys and help you through this, because I just released a membership program myself where we started about a year ago. It's small, but it's strictly electrical, and we have 200 members. And we saw some pain points that that made it better and worse. So I like to share those with you. And like I said, we're right in Watertown, so I'm like 45 minutes from you.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'll connect you guys. I wrote it down. Eric and
I'll definitely
your team connected for you. So awesome.
And I see the need, so I can be your guinea pig too. So we can apply. And as far as vendor fulfillment, I get networks from plaster. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Once we figure out the liability issues, which we're confident we'll get through those with some great insight from Blake and some others.
But there's even things like ceiling fan installations, hanging TVs, changing light bulbs, like broken fixtures. Like I forgot about this. They've done extensive work in membership services in the electrical HVAC, and Eric's company at one point had plumbing, electrical HVAC, bunch of divisions, construction. I don't know where you're at now, but so that was
strictly electrical and alarms. That's it. Keep it.
Yeah. Greg, you had your hand up. Did it get answered or?
No, I just got tired of holding my hand up. So yeah, I have a painting contractor here in Florida that I work with, that he has like a membership program. So like, hey, I'll come in twice a year, like paint your door, like paint a room in your house, right? Because a lot of those price points don't fit with like some of their minimum job criteria. So this could like align well, but what they're finding is that once they get in the house and they start seeing some of the results that the painter has, they's like, hey, could you paint my entire outside of my house? So it leads those small, $100, $200 jobs lead to like $3,000, $5,000 jobs, et cetera, right? But of course that has to be vetted. So I'm happy to connect you with my painting contractor here in Florida as well, just because he has some good ideas to express in this matter, and it could help really elevate, because he's part of a bigger mastermind group within the construction community. So it could be a helpful just call.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll connect you. That's a really good point. So to get back to like the simple, easy things, and I love the paint a door thing, like getting these contractors in for the small thing, and they prove their service and their attitudes, they will likely get bigger contracts for sure.
Right.
Trey?
Yeah, Scott, love what you're doing. I'm going to share my cell phone number in the chat here in a moment. And if you'll just shoot me a text, let's find a time to jump on a call, because I'd love to make a few, 3 key connections for you. And also just something that comes to mind. I don't know if you've looked into the BJ Fogg behavior model. He's a Stanford behavior coach. And he has this really, really cool, just a bunch of content on the Fogg behavior model, which basically states that simplicity changes behavior more than motivation. Simplicity changes behavior more than motivation. So really with what you're doing, your number one job is just to make it easy for people to say yes to you. And so I want to cover, what are you doing to make it easy for people to say yes to you? And then 2, how are you determining product market fit and authentic demand? So I want to cover those things on our call, and then make 3 introductions for you.
Sweet. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you so much.
Hey, really quick, simplicity is critical here. I'd recommend staying high end to begin with. If you hit the masses, you're going to get too diluted because it's a pretty complex issue. People do want a one-click button solution, but as soon as you start to layer in different types of houses, different types of consumers, different types of income levels, different everything, different vendors have layers to it. It starts to be a really, really complex situation that if you start to focus on maybe condo associations, townhouses, people who are already used to those conveniences, high rises, those are aspects where you can just target an entire building who people are already ready to pay for like a premium subscription for convenience. So keeping that in mind, when you start to like layer their stack of income, there are some people who can't afford to have a one-click solution for convenience.
Yeah, Kevin, great points. Bedford is an affluent town in New Hampshire. We actually have a strategic game plan to hit 10 to 20 affluent communities in just New Hampshire. And we actually don't care about anything until we get Bedford right. So we're going to get Bedford right. We're going to go through the group's thoughts on how critical personas are, like going after lawyers, going after divorced parents who need help, going after the double working homeowners. So things like that could be. Would love to get some of your thoughts.
Well, it's interesting you say divorced parents. I think that oddly enough, that's probably a good one, right? When somebody has a brand new living situation, now it's like 100% of everything falls on them. It's an interesting target, but probably a very good one. And it should be, well, I guess it's probably easily identifiable with all the data access we have now. But yeah, professionals, doctors, lawyers, people that aren't naturally, like engineers wouldn't be a good one. We fix all our own stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, people that are professional white collar that don't necessarily have mechanical skills, or they just don't want to do it. Time. So I think anybody in that sort of white collar group to start. But I love what Kevin said too about like affluent condo associations or 55 and older developments. Some of those people, same thing. They might we can get a whole bunch of people in one shot that are a similar demographic.
Yeah, and I should add to Kevin and Brian a neighborhood by neighborhood approach in our town. So Mike grew up in Bedford, literally knows everybody in Bedford. Being a
It's
real
great to be with you guys today. I had to get up at like 4 in the morning because I live in the wine country.
Sorry,
and so
Trey, the video you just sent just started. That's what that was.
Oh.
We do want to take a neighborhood by neighborhood approach as well, which could really help us to stay really tactical and the same style of houses, get it right in those neighborhoods, and then move to the next neighborhood and the next neighborhood and so forth. Could be a go-to-market strategy post beta.
And certainly part of our game plan is to figure out residential and then scale. Once this box is built and it's been proven, to take over the property management companies that handle condo associations, 55 plus, all of that is going to be so turnkey. And really the model that we can build there is drop that property management fee down to 5% or less, because we're already getting the back end with the vendors. So we are thinking about that, but trying to figure it out with the residential first.
One last thing I can think of, and again, we can keep going in the chats too, or I'll make the connections, is Serena's an expert in assisted living facilities. I don't know if something there would be of interest, but usually you'll have, you could have 100 units with, maybe they have property management contracts. I don't know if there's a fit here or not, but I know Eric Gullickson has a series, what do you have, half a dozen homes that are converted to assisted living. So would you be like a candidate for this, or?
It is a good idea because the people that run those homes are good at healthcare, but they don't really understand real estate.
Well, Serena does, but I know what you're saying. Most of them don't.
Yeah, most of them are busy enough running the healthcare side.
Yeah, the healthcare. So there might be an opportunity there.
Yeah, totally. That's a good point.
Awesome. We're at the top of the hour. I'll get you guys the recording of this, obviously. I'll make those half a dozen connections. I'll make those. Thank you, everybody, for pouring into the group. If you get other ideas, just put them right in the WhatsApp chat. Jeff's in there. Scott will put you in there or whatever. And, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, when you guys are up running, launched, and you want to go to the next phase, you can come back in, have another hot seat, and we'll help you on the way.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian, for making this happen.
Thank you, everybody. Be well. God bless.
Bye, guys.
Take care.